welcome to the big story. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
Tonight's big stories. The Justice Department readies charges of qualified human trafficking against Alice Guo and her Chinese business partners, two of whom are already jailed. Her doppelganger turns herself in.
And Apollo Quiboloy and 4 of his associates enter a not guilty plea at their arraignment in 2 courts today. Already, his lawyers are fighting to have Quiboloy placed under hospital or house arrest.
And AFP Chief General Romeo Browner Jr. and Defense Secretary Gabo Teodoro check in on key naval facilities in Palawan as China continues to issue threats over the South China Sea.
The Justice Department has recommended the filing of charges for qualified trafficking against dismissed Bamban Mayor Alice Guo.
And also facing charges are Guo's Chinese business partners, one of whom is still at large. The problem is none of them are here.
And so once the case is filed, the DOJ and the PAOK will request that all 4 suspects be placed under Interpol surveillance. Camille Samonte with a big story tonight.
The Justice Department will file qualified human trafficking charges against dismissed Bamban Mayor Alice Guo in the Regional Trial Court of Capas Tarlac next week. The case stems from Guo's involvement in labor trafficking at a pogo hub that was raided in Bamban, Tarlac. This charge is non-bailable. According to the DOJ, a panel of prosecutors found strong evidence linking Guo to the establishment of a business involved in human trafficking.
Doon talaga nadawit si Mayor Guo at mga ibang co-respondent niya, no? Dahil kung alala nyo yung mga ibang abogado dyan, sinasabi nila na wala namang ebidensya na siya nag-traffic, walang ebidensya na siya nagmalupit, sila yung nag-torture, sila yung nag-recruit. Dahil dito sa pinakabagong amendment ng Trafficking in Persons Act, hindi naman kailangan yun eh. Kung mapakita na ikaw ang nag-organize ng isang negosyo na may madaming ganap na human trafficking, maaari kang kasuhan. At yun ang nangyari kay Mayor Alice Guo at sa madaming mga kapwa-respondent niya.
The DOJ also stated that it cannot be denied that Guo's camp employed several tactics to delay the progress of the case. Recall that the prosecutor had already rejected Guo's motion to reopen the preliminary investigation and accept her counter-affidavit, which turns out was falsified.
Ilang beses na humingi sila ng resetting dahil di daw makapakitin kliyente nila dito sa DOJ. At pinakamalala doon, yung huling ginawa nila, no, na yung submitted for resolution na yung kaso, naghain sila ng motion to reopen case with motion to admit counter-affidavit na alam natin lahat ngayon, peking counter-affidavit to.
In addition to Guo, several other respondents will also be charged with qualified trafficking in persons. This includes Guo's business partner Wang Ziyang, who is a fugitive from China, as well as Zhang Ruijin and Lin Baoying, both of whom are also Chinese nationals and are involved in one of Singapore's biggest money laundering cases. Both Zhang and Lin, who are romantic partners, have already been convicted and jailed. Dennis Conanan, representative of the raided Zunyuan Technology Hub in Bamban, is also among those facing charges.
These are people who are notorious for scamming and money laundering. Now again, the crimes that are alleged to have been committed by Alice Guo et al. Would not have happened if these people did not enable her through their finances. So very important na makasuhan din sila.
Once the case is filed against the others accused and an arrest warrant is issued by the court, the DOJ and PAOK will request that they be placed under Interpol surveillance. The DOJ will also ask the Supreme Court to transfer the qualified human trafficking case to a court in Manila to ensure no influence or doubt in the proceedings. Once the arrest warrant is issued, the court will decide where Alice Guo will be detained. The 2 counts of graft and corruption have already been transferred from the Tarlac RTC to the Regional Trial Court in Valenzuela owing to a conflict in jurisdiction raised by Senator Francis Tolentino. Apart from graft and trafficking, Guo faces at least 87 counts of money laundering and tax evasion. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Qualified trafficking in persons, by the way, carries a maximum punishment of life imprisonment with a fine of up to 2 million pesos as confirmed by DOJ USEC-T. Although 2 million is probably nothing to Alice Guo. Okay, here's a pop quiz. Is this Alice Guo or not? What do you guys think?
She has the same hair, but her part, I'm going to be nitpicky here because I have been watching her, and as we have all been, her part's a bit different. It doesn't quite,
well,
it's not in the middle.
She's already changed her hairstyle now, right?
But
Coming
her
from
old
Indonesia.
hairstyle.
But anyways, the answer is no. But if you guessed Alice Guo, you're close. This is the alleged body double or doppelganger of Alice, who showed up at the NBI today to air her side. The woman, alias Kath, arrived past 2 this afternoon to speak to NBI Assistant Director Lito Magno. And as you can see, she resembles Alice in hair length, at least in the past, build and complexion. And she also wears glasses. Assistant Director Magno said the woman didn't give away much, but said she was ready to attend Senate hearings on the matter.
Nabanggit niya rin naman na sila ay pupunta sa Senado at doon na lang sila magsasalita. Makakatulong siya doon sa ating mga ginagawang pag-iimbestiga, no? Particularly sa backtracking natin, kung talaga bang yung mga aligasyon na gumagamit ng double si Mayor Alice ay mapapatunayan natin kung totoo hindi.
Authorities believe Alice Guo used a lookalike as part of her escape plan. They suspect it is a body double who turned up in Bulacan mid-August to get her counter affidavit notarized since Alice had fled by mid-July. News 5 reporters also tried to speak to alias Kath at the NBI today, but she wouldn't say a word at all.
Gusto niyo po ba maging kamukha si Alice?
Oo. Gano'ng katagal na po kayong nagtatrabaho kay Miss Alice?
All the other people getting their day in court, Apollo Quiboloy and 4 of his trusted deputies. At their arraignment in 2 courts of law today, all 5 entered a not guilty plea on charges of human trafficking and abuse. But before trial even begins, Quiboloy's lawyers are already hard at work trying to keep their client out of regular jail. Mon Gualvez has the full story.
In Kevlar helmets and bulletproof vests, faces covered and handcuffed, 4 of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ founders' most trusted aides appeared for the first time at the Pasig Regional Trial Court for their arraignment. Crescente Canada, Jacqueline Roy, Ingrid Canada, and Silvia Semañez are all facing the non-bailable offense of qualified human trafficking. But it was the 5th suspect that the crowd outside the courthouse was waiting for. Self-proclaimed Son of God Apollo Quiboloy finally faced the court of man after evading arrest for months. A shadow of his former self, the usually well-groomed preacher, came out like his co-defendants in prison clothes and restrained. When asked how he was, Quiboloy said he's doing good. Inside the courthouse, lawyers and defendants gathered, including alias Amanda, the woman who first blew the whistle on Quiboloy's abuses before the Senate. After charges against Quiboloy and company were read, they entered the plea of not guilty. The pre-trial was supposed to follow the arraignment, but that did not happen since only Quiboloy's lawyers were present today. And the preacher's legal team did not waste time filing one motion after another before the Pasig RTC. They want their client transferred from the PNP Custodial Center in Camp Crame to the Armed Forces. The court flatly rejected this, while the Defense Department yet again dismissed the idea.
Yung mga aligasyon po laban sa mga akusado ay pawang mga heinous crimes na nasasaklaw po ng jurisdiction ng ating mga civil courts. It's not part of the mandate of the AFP. Lalo na po ngayon na we're shifting our focus from internal security operations to territorial defense. Limitado lang po talaga ang law enforcement authority ng AFP to assisting the law enforcement operations of our Philippine National Police.
Quiboloy's legal team floated another option: hospital arrest at the Veterans Memorial Medical Center in Quezon City or a medical facility in the pastor's hometown of Davao City on the basis that he has existing health issues. The Pasig court then ordered the police to have Quiboloy and another suspect examined by government doctors.
Yun din po yung dahilan kung bakit nag-object po yung prosecutor, because it defeats the purpose na tinransfer natin lahat ng kaso originating from Davao at tapos ibabalik din naman po sila doon. And if there is a need to really regularly monitor yung kanyang health and medical condition, the PNP General Hospital is just a few meters away from the custodial center.
And then there is defense's request to place Quiboloy under house arrest in his prayer mountain in Davao. This early, some lawyers believe this is a long shot since the preacher clearly has a history of evading authorities and could be a flight risk. For now, Quiboloy will remain at the PNP Custodial Center. His 4 accused were transferred to the Pasig City Jail since the RTC said there's no threat to their security. Before leaving the Pasig City Hall of Justice for his next court schedule, Quiboloy had this short message to his supporters. The next pre-trial in this court is set for October 17. Over at the Quezon City Regional Trial Court, Quiboloy and other defendants also entered a not guilty plea via video conference in strictly confidential proceedings. This is for another case involving child and sexual abuse. Quiboloy's victim, alias Amanda, also did not miss the second arraignment of the pastor.
Ang naramdaman ko po talaga is sobrang saya kasi po hindi ko naman po talaga ine-expect na mahuhuli siya sa tagal-tagal ng oras na nagtago siya kasama pa yung iba. So, ang hinihiling ko lang din po na nandito na po yung kaso. Sana po yung ibang biktima lumabas at maglakas ng loob.
For QC-RTC proceedings, marking of evidence begins on September 26, while the pre-trial is set for October 2. The DND has also filed a comment opposition before the said court to block any motion to place Quiboloy and his aides under AFP custody. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
All right, let's now go on to the other big question. Will Quiboloy be extradited to the United States? Well, speaking to our sister program StoryCon earlier this afternoon, DOJ USEC Nicholas T. said that that's a decision that will be up to both the executive and the judiciary. As of today, the U.S. has not formally requested for the doomsday preacher to be extradited. If and when they do, they first have to go through the Department of Foreign Affairs, who will then endorse it to the DOJ and the courts. One scenario, T says, is that Quiboloy's cases here and the extradition request are processed simultaneously. If he gets convicted here first, he then serves his sentence here before being extradited. Quiboloy is on the FBI's most wanted list for a string of charges that include sex trafficking of children, sexual abuse, fraud, and smuggling. According to the U.S. indictment, he also maintained large residences in California, Las Vegas, and Hawaii.
Parehong si President Marcos na birthday ngayon at si Secretary Remulla na sinabi nila mas gusto nila na humarap muna sa ating husgado si Pastor Quiboloy. Kaya mukhang ganun ang direksyon, no? Napakadaming permutations na pwede mangyari. Isang pwede mangyari nga doon ay tatakbo yung extradition case kahit na humaharap si Pastor Quiboloy sa kaso dito sa atin. Kung sakaling the court finds that it's right, pwedeng ma-extradite, hindi muna i-implement. Madaming pwede mangyari. Bottom line, no? Ano yan? May call yan yung bansa natin. We can actually choose to not implement it. Ang sasabihin ng korte, it's clear for extradition. Parang the legal requisites for extradition have been met, but end of the day, it's still the final say of the executive.
At least 2 alleged victims of Apollo Quiboloy who surfaced recently have expressed willingness to testify against the KOJC founder. This is according to Davao City Police Chief Colonel Hansel Marantan. Let's get more details from Colonel Marantan himself. He joins us now on the line. Good evening, Colonel. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good evening, Pao, Sion, and Regina. Good evening po.
Okay, Colonel Marantan, we know you have 5 witnesses that could potentially testify against Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Can you tell us again where we are at right now? We know 2 are willing to testify, 3 are still thinking about it, but you have said in a press con yesterday that more are willing to come out.
Yes, that's correct, and we are on the process of taking their statements, ma'am. So please give us more time, because this is not just a simple case. So it will become very tedious of the taking of those statements, and especially that these victims, they have trauma already, so hindi pwede yung the usual taking of the statements that we often do.
Colonel, pwede pakikwento na lang sa amin ulit, no? Paano po ba kayo nilapitan nitong 5 witnesses, supposedly? Pwede mo ba kaming bigyan ng salaysay, no, on the events that happened?
Okay, brief narrative. No Friday, Senate hearing. May Senate hearing sa Davao. So there was this presentation of General Talk. How far have we gone through with our research and operations on sa KOGC compound? And then, yung mga poor victims, naghahanap na sila ng malalapitan para to tell their stories too, that they were offended by Quiboloy. So, naghanap sila ng middleman para makausap nila ako. So they told me that at first, hindi sila naniniwala sa amin kasi there were operations of the past na hindi naman nahuhuli si Quiboloy. And even before, alam nila na the posturing of Quiboloy is so powerful at that. So alam nila na hindi sila mabibigyan ng pansin ng gobyerno.
Okay.
So, yes.
Sige lang, Colonel. So, nung lumapit sila sa inyo, galing po ba sila sa loob ng KOJC compound o taga Davao City rin po ba sila? Or nananatili pa rin ba sila doon sa loob ng compound? Kasi as I understand it, medyo ilang taon na po nakalipas, no, nung nagsimula yung alleged abuse.
No, hindi ilang taon. Last year lang yung pinag-usapan natin.
Oh, okay.
Oo, last year yung pero ang sinasabi mo siguro ilang taon, whenever started to be molested. So they started at 13-year-old. But yung mga kausap natin ngayon po, ay they are past 18 na. So you could just imagine how many years they've been molested.
And until po nagsumbong or nakalapit sila sa mga pulis, were they still living inside the KOJC compound or nakaalis na po ba sila?
Nakaalis na sila. Tumakas na po sila. So they are out of the KOJC compound.
Colonel, in other media reports, you called Apollo Quiboloy a pedophile kasi nga, as you said, yung abuse started, for some of them, started as young as 12, 13 years old. Ano yung pattern na nakita nyo here?
So the pattern, if medyo mahaba kasi yung kwento about that, pero to shorten it, there's that foundation, Children's Foundation, where they entice people, children at that, para offering free education. So, ang common ground pala doon sa mga victims ay they all come from broken families. And the poor mothers, they brought their children doon sa foundation in the hope na bigyan sila ng free education. If there were this spotting takes place. So, yung mga children that fit the standard of beauty of Quiboloy were taken to the KOGC compound, particularly doon sa Bible school building, where they will be groomed to become members of the pastoral of the Quiboloy circle, and they will be given indoctrination and shaping and brainwashing of that. So, pag nakita na nila na enough na yung indoctrination, so they will offer that to Quiboloy already. For the furtherance of his child.
So you suspect he was preying on children from broken families para mas mabilis ma-indoctrinate. I'm sorry for this question, Colonel, but are we talking about boys or boys and girls?
No, we're talking here of girls.
So yung 5...
As far as yung kausap ko, yung 5 na yun, girls yun.
Okay, so yung 5 who came forward recently, they're all girls?
Are they all Filipino? Colonel, Filipinas po ba itong 5?
They speak Bisaya also. But may mga lahi sila.
So mga mestiza?
Ano?
Mestiza po? Tisay?
Yes, mga mestiza. Magaganda. In fairness, magaganda talaga. Sabi nga sa amin, sa mga lalaki, gaya ng to describe them better, ay sila, mga from 8, 9, 10 ang ano nila, ang category nila.
Okay, Colonel, actually lumabas din sabi ni PNP spokes Colonel Jean Fajardo na it's possible that some of the victims' parents even allegedly offered yung kanilang mga anak voluntarily dito. So it means it's highly possible na they knew what was going on behind those doors. So posible po ba na may mga kaso rin na i-file against those parents kung mapatunayan na guilty din sila of offering their children for these alleged abuses?
Yes, that's still a possibility. Lahat naman possible dyan. Pero ito ang sasabihin ko. There's a high level of compartmentalization doon sa innermost circle as being narrated. Even if sabihin natin 20 sila na those who belong to the innermost circle, yung 20 na yan, I'm saying that there are 20 compartmentalization yan. Hindi alam nung victim 1 ang nangyari kay victim 2. Kasi sabi nila, nalalaman lahat ni Quiboloy kung ano ang mga conversations sila. Because tinakot sila ni Quiboloy doon sa angels of death. May sila in-introduce si Quiboloy na angels of death to scare them from conniving. And eventually, na-report yung mga orphans nila in the outside of the OGC compound.
Okay, nabanggit nyo rin po, Colonel, may 15 pa po, 15 more minors inside the KOJC compound that needs rescuing. Nasa na po tayo on the rescue of these 15?
Yeah, yan ang challenge ngayon kasi bumitaw kami sa KOJC compound when Quiboloy and others were arrested. That was September 8, that Sunday. So, nag-usap kami how to go forward about it. But we have a list. We have a list of the names of those who are about to be rescued by us.
Sino po nag-flag sa inyo nung 15 names na yon?
Come again, please.
Sino po yung nag-flag sa inyo or nagsabi sa inyo na meron pong 15 pa na kailangan daw supposedly ma-rescue mula sa loob ng compound?
Yung mga kausap namin di ba, sinabi mo mayroong 5 kaming kausap?
Yes, sila din po.
Yung mga yun.
Okay.
Opo.
We've also talked to Attorney Israeli Tutorion a few times, and in each case, he would say na the police are planting evidence daw that manufactured lahat ng allegations na to. What would you have to say to that, Colonel?
How could I plant rape victims? Later on, we will undergo a medical examination.
So
that's he's a lawyer. All he needs to do is to defend his client. So we respect that.
Okay, and moving...
wala kaming I want to make this very, very clear na I have nothing against KOGC po. Wala po akong animosity sa kanila. Ang pinapukutan ko lang, those the particular violations under the law, dun sa mga narrative ng mga victims, alleged victims na nagsumbong sa amin. So, yun yung pinagbibigyan ko. I have nothing against the KOJC. I have nothing against the auditorium also.
Okay. The alleged victims have undergone physical examination, you said?
No. Wala pa. Wala pa kami sa sa level na yan.
So are they...
Nasa Sony statements pa lang kami.
Okay. Are they in Davao? Or they're spread out? They're nasa ibang places?
Iba-ibang places. So, iba-ibang places sila.
Okay. So, nagko-coordinate po kayo?
It's not as easy na gaya ng iniisip natin. Kasi itong mga ito, they have been horrified for the last more or less 9 years. Iba na, embedded na sa kanila yung pagkausap mo, they're not normal anymore.
Okay. So moving forward, Colonel Marantan, ano pong magyayari? Kanino nyo pong ahensya sila ito-turn over or yung mga affidavit nila kung willing mag-testify, anong magyayari? Can you tell us ano yung possible next steps na mababantayan ng publiko with regard to this?
Meron naman tayong women's and children's death sa PNP. So they are the more appropriate group to take care of them. Kami, initial lang naman kami. Eventually, we'll turn it over to them. para sila. May marami rin naman kaming gagawin dito sa Davao. So, kakausapin namin, set-and over namin sila sa mga experts.
Okay, pero procedurally, after nila kausapin, no, after you i-transfer sa Women and Children's Desk, tapos kakausapin ng mga experts from that department, ano po naman yung magyayari?
Yes.
Magkakaroon po ba ng sampahan ng kaso? Sino po magpa-file, etc.?
Ay, sila na, magpapile, sila na lahat. Basta kami, initial lang yung sa amin. Kanya-kanyang trabaho tayo.
Okay. Maraming salamat po sa pag-explain ulit at syempre para sa oras ninyo ngayong gabi, Davao City Police Chief Colonel Hansel Marantan.
Well, we still have more stories coming up after the break. Defense officials inspect the Oyster Bay naval facilities in Palawan as President Marcos fast-tracks construction on the bases. We'll speak with retired Vice Admiral Alex Lopez, spokesperson of the National Maritime Council, about this when we return. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. Defense Secretary Gibot Teodoro and AFP Chief Romeo Browner Jr. visited key naval facilities in Oyster Bay, Palawan yesterday, September 12, to assess their development. AFP Public Affairs Chief Colonel Cerces Trinidad said the facilities there are, quote, critical to enhancing the country's external defense posture. He also emphasized Balabac's future role as a forward base for the Philippine Air Force, which will enhance air defense capabilities. Construction on the Oyster Bay and Balabac facilities have been ordered fast-tracked by President Marcos. The visit coincided with China's warning that developing EDCA sites could drag the Philippines into the Taiwan conflict. That's coming from a report by the Manila Standard. Last year, Marcos approved 4 additional EDCA sites, allowing the rotation of U.S. troops and facilities on AFP bases. The naval base at Santa Ana, Cagayan, known as Camilo Osias, is only about 400 kilometers away from Taiwan, which China claims. What to make of China's not-so-subtle threats? Well, for some answers, let me bring in retired Vice Admiral Alex Lopez. He's a spokesperson of the National Maritime Council. Good evening, Vice Admiral. Thanks for being with us on The Big Story tonight.
Good evening, Shawn, Regina, and Pauline, and also good evening to our televiewers.
Vice Admiral, there's been a lot of strong language from China this week again, although thankfully there have not been any run-ins as far as we know in the West Philippine Sea. So just yesterday we were reporting that China says it will crush any foreign incursions in the South China Sea, not just WPS. This was said by a senior military official named General He Lay at a defense forum in Beijing. And as I said, I believe this is one of the strongest language yet we've heard from China. What did you make of it?
Actually, while the wordings were quite stronger this time, they were no different from the past narratives that they had before. To us, while we do not consider them light, but we do not also consider them strong enough. But simply, para sa akin, they're all they're meant to be general. The message was general, and the target audience there actually are their internal audience, because the international community, the like-minded nations, nobody buys, nobody buys their narrative. So again, as I was saying, there's nothing new to their recent pronouncement. In fact, it's so general. They say foreign forces and things like that, and no specific mention to the Philippines.
Do I take it to mean then that you're not worried about it?
No, actually, we're not worried about it.
Okay.
To be honest.
What is maybe concerning to some people or some sectors, Vice Admiral, is the increased presence of Chinese ships, combination of CCG, maritime militia, and PLA Navy vessels. This time around, the Escoda Shoal. What do you make of parang palipat-lipat yung hotspots in the disputed waters? Are we kind of cautious about that at least?
Well, the position of our government, is that we exercise sovereignty. We exercise our sovereign rights and jurisdiction over all areas within the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. Not only Skoda, not only Ayungin, but the whole entire West Philippine Sea that's within our 200 nautical exclusive economic zone. The Chinese are the ones that are staying there and doing things illegal, no? Because we anchor our position on international law, the UNCLOS, and of course the 2016 arbiter ruling. It clearly states and it debunked the ridiculous claim of the historical claim. There's no such thing in UNCLOS. They only made it up. They came up with a domestic law. But again, no, if you will look at the UNCLOS, China is very, very far. The nearest province that they have is more than 500 nautical miles. And tayo, we practically are embracing the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, very, very near to us. So that's where we lay our claim.
But they don't recognize that. And of course, after what happened in Mischief Reef, in Subi Reef, in Scarborough Shoal, medyo nakakatakot rin po, Vice Admiral, no, na baka magyari ulit ito dito naman ngayon sa Escoda Shoal. We understand na under the bilateral consultation mechanism na pag-uusapan na, and we have been discussing at least Ayungin or Second Thomas Shoal, but not yet Escoda. It has not extended to that. So what's the plan when it comes to Escoda? Because nabangga na po or binunggo na po nila yung BRP Teresa Magbanua, the Coast Guard ship that has been anchored there since April.
Yeah, well, the challenge is very real, no? Kasi to the Chinese, kanila yun. Pero again, yung kanilang claim is based on fantasy, I should say that, no? And tayo naman, it's real. Again, I was saying a while ago, we base it on the clear international law, on clause in the 26th arbiter ruling. And they want to control the whole area because believing that the area is theirs. So we can understand bakit sila ganon, no? So, but again, the position of our government, we will not abandon any or even a square inch of our territory to even a powerful or a powerful nation. So that's our stand. The challenge is there. We do consider that, and ito mga pagbabangga nito. This is very real, no? Nakakainis, nakakagigil, nakakanginig. But then again, we will stand our ground. We will stand our ground. Hindi tayo magbabuckle down to their aggressive behaviors. As long as the community, international community is backing on us, actually, nagpapasalamat tayo sa kanilang mga statements of support, no? And they believe in our case, in our cause.
Pero do we have enough capacity, no, to kind of para sementohin, no, yung mga sinabi ninyo na ito yung posisyon natin? Kasi kahit may posisyon tayo, Vice Admiral, kung wala naman po tayong gamit at kapasidad, ano po yung magyayari? Do we have a plan on how to address that? Kasi ang hirap naman po labanan no, ang lahat ng assets ng China.
Yeah, definitely. But insofar as we are concerned, we treat the West Philippine Sea, it's not the be-all and end-all of our relationship with China. So we do try to consider that in isolation. It's not an isolated case, but sabihin, we will address the West Philippine Sea security issue doon lang sa West Philippine Sea. No? We will not try to do other things that would affect our relationship with with China. Kasi what we do not want to happen is, to have a situation that would escalate more and God forbid it would result to a shooting war between both countries, our assets in the area. Yun ang hindi natin gugustuhin mangyari. Because nobody will benefit from such a situation. It is not to the best interest of our country. It's not to the best interest also of China and even to the rest of the region. If the situation will go further into a shooting war.
All right, Vice Admiral. Well, China also warned that developing new EDCA sites could possibly drag the Philippines into the Taiwan issue. They said this could potentially be used to interfere dun sa conflict nga, with Taiwan. Can we get your thoughts on this, and how does the NMC plan to clarify the purpose of these EDCA sites?
Let me just qualify that that report came from the Manila Standard citing a Chinese embassy official. That report did not come from us. We're just picking it up off the newspapers.
Well, I really do not have the specifics now, but the EDCA sites, in fact, when I was still in the service, they were meant to be put up, especially during mga situations, humanitarian missions, and all these things, no. And these sites actually are being used for training purposes. And again, if you may direct the questions to the Defense Department, because they have more to qualify on the purpose of the EDCA sites. Because at the National Maritime Council, we tried to come up with policies. We try to come up with coherent strategy towards our maritime areas and maritime domains. So basically, that's the purpose of the Maritime Council. It is composed of the different agencies that have a stake in our maritime domain.
Yeah. Coming back to the West Philippine Sea, Vice Admiral, whatever happened to China's threat to detain supposed trespassers? That was a self-imposed rule that they announced a few months ago. Do we know if there's been any incidents?
Effective June 15
Actually, so I was mentioning a while ago, they came up with that threat again, yung narrative na yun, that they will be apprehending because they came up with a domestic law, Coast Guard law, that would allow their Coast Guard assets to apprehend trespassers. But then again, wala silang karapatan maghuli man kung sino man, mapa-Pilipinas, mapa-Vietnamese, whatever, because the area is not theirs. Fortunately, wala pang nangyayaring ganun, hulihan. Again, pananakot, they're trying to intimidate seagoing fairers para wag mag-isda doon, wag gumawa ng any maritime activity there. Again, it's intimidation coming from their part, and it's unfortunate, hindi maganda, hindi karapat-dapat na gawin nila yun.
Yeah. And as far as we are concerned, we have not scaled back operations or activities, in light of that threat to arrest trespassers.
No.
Okay.
In fact, all our maritime activities are still being done according to our schedules, according to our plans. So we will not be changing programs just because of those threats. We will continue to be doing our activities at the West Philippine Sea. Of course, meron din kaming ayaw namin pag medyo babanggain na or huhulihin. We try to advise our friend not to proceed, para lang for their safety on our part naman.
Okay. Colonel, Vice Admiral, balikan ko lang yung sinabi mo ulit, because it seems that the National Maritime Council is putting emphasis, that our relationship with China, it's not just what's going on in the West Philippine Sea, but it's beyond that. Can you explain that further to us, just to put our relationship with China into context? Kasi tensions are very high right now. What exactly do you mean by that? So what other, are there areas of cooperation, more areas of cooperation as opposed to areas of tension? What does the NMC mean by that?
Yes, definitely. For example, in the light of the Pogo incidents, our relations with China, the Chinese embassy here and the Chinese police are actually cooperating. Kaya nga maraming nahuhuli because of their cooperation also. That's why kung the dispute will go beyond the West Philippine Sea, in context, maapektuhan yung maapektuhan yung ibang relationship natin with China. There is also trade, there is also tourism, in other activities of government. So, wag nating isama 'yon just because of course the focus is there, no. Sabi ko nga, mas nakakaginig ito sa West Philippine Sea. But then again, as I've said a while ago, it's not the be-all and end-all relationship of our government with the government of China.
Is the National Maritime Council prepared for the possibility of a radical change in U.S. foreign policy in case former President Donald Trump gets elected again? I mean, the assumption here is that if it's Kamala Harris, more or less similar foreign policy approach as President Joe Biden. But if it's Trump again, the analysts have told us na baka it's going to be a lot more transactional. He may not invest so much in this region. Is that something that the NMC is looking into?
Actually, it's not the NMC, but more on it's the turf of our Department of Foreign Affairs. So actually, they're trying to study that, and also it will have meron ding pagkakaiba siguro in terms of the defense, whatever. But still wait and see. But definitely, our Foreign Affairs and our Defense Department are looking into it. And if ever there will be any changes, they'll be studying it very carefully.
But actually, the NMC is a collegiate body, right? Which includes DFA, practically every major government agency, DND, DOE, National Security Council, even DILG is in there, I believe. So, I mean, give us a sense of how difficult is it, or maybe it's not so difficult, for the group to reach a consensus when it comes to decisions that need to be made over the West Philippine Sea?
Yes, that's why all the different agencies of government, departments of our government that has a stake in the West Philippine Sea, not actually in the West Philippine Sea, all our maritime domain, mapa south, mapa east and west, and even in the north. So basically, it's a policy-making body. We try to come up with studies on activities affecting our maritime domain, and they will be coming up with technical reports, studying it, and coming up with recommendations to the president on a matter of policy. So pag nagkaroon na ng mga ganung study and all the other council members will agree on a particular option or how to go about it and how to address a particular challenge, then this is basically the job of the NMC. We will try to come up with activities. We will try to have a coherent, cohesive approach to a particular issue or particular problem.
Yeah, but is it not difficult with so many agencies at the table? It's
well, it is difficult.
They have
maganda naman doon.
They have competing interests.
Yeah,
they have competing interests, right? So.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes kasi, if, for example, the issue is more on fishing, for example, so we will let the Department of Agriculture come up with its own, and then all the other council members will try to give their comments, and other agencies will also try to come up with maybe technical information. And if it's for example, I was before a USEC in the Department of Energy. When an issue is heavy on energy, then the Department of Energy comes up with its study, proposals, recommendations, and all the other agencies of government will try to come up with their own, what are their take on it, what are their thoughts on it, and maybe come up with a better approach and fine-tune whatever the Department of Energy comes up with.
Okay.
Wow.
Very quickly lang, I'm really curious because recently, Vice Admiral, medyo ni-retool yung definition and yung mandato ng NMC. I'm just curious, syempre, ang laman ng utak natin laging top of mind, West Philippine Sea. Pero Maritime Council, it goes around the whole archipelago. Ano po ba ang top on your agenda bukod sa West Philippine Sea?
I would like to give just a short background and context. Because if you are aware of the National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea, right? Before, the National Maritime Council used to be the National Coast Watch Council. But when the administration of President Marcos Jr. Came in, pinag-aralan nila parang may duplication ata yung National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea and the National Coast Watch Council. Because basically the members of the task force are also the members of the council. And then even their mandate are parang nagduduplicate. So, to have a better framework of governance, they made it a point na inilalim na lang yung National Task Force sa West Philippine Sea. Basically, it will be the operating arm of the council. So that made it more relevant and more more cohesion between the parang hindi na magbabanggaan yung dalawang body. Because before the council and the task force are all directly reporting to the president. Now, pag-iisahan na yun, and then we're coming up with more cohesive, more relevant, and more significant approaches to whatever challenges at the maritime domain.
Okay,
well, we look forward to being in touch with you again over, well, if and when other issues come up related to the Maritime Council. Thanks for so much for joining us tonight, retired Vice. Yes, go ahead, please.
Closing, yeah.
Yes.
I'd just like to, gusto ko sana manawagan sa ating mga kababayan, those especially listening, that the challenge of the West Philippine Sea is big, no? And we need to have our people rally behind the government. The government is very clear that kahit anong mangyari, we will not abandon any square inch of our territory, even to a foreign power. No, that's why we ask, we request, we plead to our people, to our countrymen, to rally behind the flag. Tayo ang dehado dito eh. Ang nangyayari kasi, there are even some Filipinos who are trying to, advocate o sila pa yung nagnano ng narrative ng kabila. Instead of our narrative being espoused, yung kabilang narrative pa yung inaano nila. And they're even trying to say, mali yung ginagawa ng Pilipinas, let's rally behind our flag. Tayo ang Pilipino, magkaisa tayo. And if we come up with a national will, I think we will beat any adversary.
You're right. There's a lot of debate raging online, but that's a really nice way of putting it. Thanks so much for that. Closing note, retired Vice Admiral Alex Lopez, spokesperson of the National Maritime Council. Thanks for your time tonight.
Today, President Bongbong Marcos celebrates his 67th birthday, but it was business as usual for the chief executive. Marcos went to Nueva Ecija today, where he distributed farm equipment to farm cooperatives there. He also gave out certificates of condonation and release of mortgage to 6,000 agrarian reform beneficiaries, the first batch in Central Luzon under the new Agrarian Emancipation Act. These certificates cover 10,440 hectares of land and condone 276 million of ARB debt.
Ang birthday wish ko, mabuo na natin para maganda ang takbo ng sektor ng agrikultura para gumanda ang buhay ng bawat magsasaka, ng kanilang pamilya at ng bawat Pilipino.
The president also announced that for today, the government will shoulder the medical bills of patients who are in level 3 public hospitals nationwide. Over at the palace, a salo-salo was opened for the public at the Kalayaan grounds, which began at 4 this afternoon. And of course, the president's family all wished him well today, led by First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, who posted this message on her Facebook page, which reads, "Happy 67th birthday to the sweetest and kindest soul I've ever known. I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished, and through it all, you've remained the same tender-hearted, compassionate person who first captured my heart. I love you to the moon and back, and I always will."
I have two fun facts about President Marcos' birthday. One is his father...
I was going to say, it's Friday the 13th?
Yeah, well, yeah, but first, his father was also born in September, just 2 days ago. So today's the 13th. Yes. The Marcos Sr. was born just 2 days ago. That's pretty interesting.
On 9/11, that's his birthday, mate.
9/11. Oh, wow, 9/11. And then also, yes, Friday the 13th. So maybe the reason why traffic is so bad today.
It is payday.
But how do you
that's right, payday Friday. It's never a good idea to
How do you explain
merge.
the bad traffic on not Friday the 13th?
Yeah,
there's no answer to
that. It's extra terrifying and horrific on Friday the 13th.
I will not argue with you on that, but we still have time for our big picture tonight. And this goes out to all the pool fans and the legendary Efren Bata Reyes. Well, you guys have a chance to see him in action again. Bata Reyes will be leading Team Asia against Team Europe of professional pool player Carl Boyce for the Reyes Cup. The event will be held at the Ninoy Aquino Stadium on October 15 until 18. Signal TV is the official broadcaster, and the games can be watched via One Sports, One Sports Plus, and Pilipinas Live. Signal AVP for Sports Business Development Miguel Vea, Puyat Sports founder and owner Aristeo Puyat, Matchroom Multi-Sport CEO Emily Fraser joined Efren Bata Reyes and Carl Boyce during today's press launch.
How cool is that? It's a blast from the past.
And it's a chance to see Efren Bata Reyes
in action again, because he's been retired for how long now? Many years, no?
He came out of retirement, I think during COVID.
Games also. He
also
represented the
Games.
Philippines.
Okay.
So, but I mean, he's 70 years old, so
oh my
it's
gosh,
nice
70.
to still see the
But
magician.
to still be competing,
I
that's
know.
a major achievement. I
He's
wish
a living legend.
A living legend,
I wish I could still be.
I thought you wanted to have around with him.
Walking at 70, but look at him. He's still competing internationally. That's amazing. And that's definitely something to watch then.
And better yet, we can watch it on the Pilipinas Live app.
There
so
you
no
go.
matter where you are, you can
That's
watch
right.
it. All right, on that note, and giving way to the horrific traffic on this Friday the 13th, and also happy birthday to PBBM. That's it for the big story.
Happy birthday, President Marcos.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night, a great weekend, and a great